Are you ready now?
Yes. Say goodbye, Toto. Yes, I'm ready now.
Then close your eyes and tap your heels together 3 times. And think to yourself, there's no place like home. There's no place like home.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
Okay, so there is no place like home, and they are trying to give us a new home. And so, in light of that, I wanted to bring on two of the Chicagoest mofos I have ever been around. Both have gone to CPS, both have been on the CTA, gone to school on the CTA, gone to work on the CTA, done all sorts of stuff on the CTA. One man owns property in the city, still lives in the city. One man doesn't live in the city anymore, will not claim the new city that he lives in, still wears a bunch of Chicago shit all around town. We have Lone Star Daddy and the man with maybe a new nickname, Eagleman, here with us today. One, welcome, and thank you for being on as Samir is out celebrating spring break and celebrating his belated birthday. So thank you for being here.
Yes, sir. Hardly home, but always repping, baby.
Appreciate you for having us on, Chirag.
I want to talk about the move and stuff, but Mathias, you had started asking a question before we recorded that I wanted to pause you so we could bring it here.
Sure. Basically, it was, do we think that the Bears made a big move in the offseason to propel them to a different level? And in my opinion, I think we've talked about this before. I think their offseason has just been a wash. Safety wise, I think they did improve at safety, getting Kobe Bryant, but they don't have another safety. So now they're talking about moving Kyler to safety or doing other things. I know they signed Hicks back, but ultimately they threw a bunch of mediocre names at the D tackle position. They didn't address the other side of the defensive end position at all in the offseason. So I guess that the plan is in the draft that they're going to do that. Left tackle right now, still a mystery. They signed Braxton Jones to a year, and then a guy that was a 2020 first round pick, but hasn't played in the last 2 years. So I think they're kind of just throwing things at spots right now that, yeah, basically, in my opinion, make the offseason a wash. I think Abel kind of has a different opinion on that, but yeah, I don't think they made any crazy move to make us take a huge jump from last year where, I mean, we might have been a year ahead of schedule, but take that huge jump to like definite Super Bowl contender this year.
How are you feeling, Abel?
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit more optimistic. I think we got better at linebacker. I wasn't the biggest fan of Tremaine Edmonds. I think Dennis Allen in his second year is getting players that he wants. So they're going to be faster. I think they're going to be bigger. And that was one thing that we were really lacking is speed. You saw the way Christian Watson made us look. He outran our second level and third level defense. So Devin Bush was a great addition. I think he's a upgrade over Tremaine Edmonds. I don't know when TJ Edwards is coming back. Jack Sanborn is back though, another Chicago repping hometown fella. So I think we got better. I think Kobe Bryant is a mix of both Kevin Byard and Jaquan Brisker. I think we got him at a good deal. He looks like a thumper. I don't know much about his leadership, so maybe we're going to miss Byard there. But I think we kind of upgraded at safety also. I do think we should have re-signed Jaquan 1 year, 5.5, whatever he got from Pittsburgh.
Yes.
I don't really quite see why Poles couldn't have matched that at least, but I can also understand Jaquan not accepting that deal from Chicago after playing here. And being a real leader in the locker room, right? As far as the fans go, we all love him. So 1 year, 5.5 is a prove it deal. I feel like, Ryan could have gotten done. I also don't know, we have 3 picks within the first 2 rounds, but are you really trying to spend one of those on a safety when you could have just signed Jaquan to a prove it deal? He played all 17, 16. I'm pretty sure he played all the games last year, and had a great showing against Los Angeles when we needed him to the most, right? I think he was the most effective defender that game for us. So, yeah, we also have avoided the edge position for some reason. Again, right? Addition by subtraction. You trade DJ Moore, you get a 2nd round pick, right? So hopefully he can address those things in the first 3 picks with the first 3 picks. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's completely a wash. Offensively, we didn't really do much, but I think the growth there just comes in being, another year in Ben Johnson's offense. Should do Caleb well. You didn't, Drew Dahlman, nobody saw that coming, right? So they got a quick fix who has supposedly good rapport with Tooney. You still got Jonah Jackson and Darnell Wright on the right side too. So Braxton Jones can step in. We've seen him do it before. Who knows how long Ozzie is going to be out? But yeah, we need edge help. I think we need linebacker help. But not, I don't know. I don't know about a wash. I don't want to say a wash necessarily.
I think the sense I've been getting to, having done, just talking to Summer, I think the speed thing, as you both said, like really has, or we're working towards addressing that with Bush and Kobe Bryant. As you were talking, it did get me thinking that there's like a lot of unknowns that we're potentially putting out there with like the other safeties we bring in, the other edge like rusher we bring in, and I do wonder like the known of Brisker and the unknown of a youth, like a dude that we draft. I was like quickly looking at mock drafts before we started earlier today, and it does seem like safeties might be some of the early picks we might do. But yeah, I guess I wonder I am curious what all the unknowns would bring, and like, yeah, I don't know. I wonder what the defense will look like because of all that.
Yeah, I mean, you're right now. Your other safety is Hicks, so you assume the Bears are going to draft a safety. All their first 3 picks are going to be defense. You got to go defensive end, safety, maybe another linebacker. But ultimately, yeah, I mean, I don't know if they got that much better with the signings. I do really. The Devin Bush signing was jam up because you're basically replacing Edmonds with him, and him and Jackson had like something like they were like 1-2 in the coverage aspect from linebackers, which is crazy if you're going to put both those 2 guys out there. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like D end is the biggest thing, and they did nothing there. So basically, you're going to roll the dice either that Booker, who we thought was going to make a big jump last year, is going to this year, or that you're going to draft a guy that's basically going to do that. And at left tackle, my whole thing was, it was just like, even if you just go get a Decker who's still out there and just give him a 1-year deal, because I think Ozzie is going to be the guy. But with him being out this whole year, just put somebody there that Caleb is comfortable with, knowing his backside is protected for this year. And then I think after that, we'll be okay. Ozzie's going to come back, and then everything would be fine. But they didn't do that. They re-signed Braxton, who he's been there already. He's not the best. So I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, I mean, even if we're not calling it a wash, maybe we're calling it like a very, very slight jump ahead. But it wasn't the drastic jump, I think, that we as Bears fans all thought was going to happen.
How quickly he changes his tune from wash to jump ahead. Dude, what are you going to say by the end of this episode?
I think he's right.
Slight jump.
Yeah, I think it is, and there's still more offseason to come, right? Dennis Allen getting his guys, I think, is an underrated factor in how well the Bears defense are going to play. Tremaine Edmonds is a long body, but he just, he wasn't a good run stopper, right? He wasn't a real thumper, and those are the kind of guys Dennis Allen wants. So let's see what happens there. I think you're right. Edge has to be addressed, and if you're the Bears, would you go after Max Crosby or newly restructured Myles Garrett?
Not, I don't think now. I think that that's more of like maybe a mid-season, depending on how the Bears' record looks, something maybe they could go after. But I think at this point, you're going to overpay to get either one of them. And honestly, I don't really think that Max is hurt. I think that the Ravens did what they did. They backed out. They got cold feet. They realized they could just pay Trey, not give up the picks. I don't think that. I think if the deal would have gotten accepted by the Bears and they would have given them their 2 first-round picks, which supposedly was the offer the Bears made, that deal still would have stuck, regardless of what the physical whatever they found out from the physical. I think he still would have been a Bear. But at this point, no, I think you gotta wait, mid-season if you're going to try to do that, depending on how your record is. I don't think the Bears are going to make any drastic moves. And Scheffler said the Bears are broke. I don't know if that's true. I think he just means more or less that we don't have any money to spend on free agents anymore. So for them to make a huge move like that, they're going to have to move a ton of money, which I don't think that they can do right now.
Well, that's the thing. They don't, right? So the Browns just restructured his deal today. So I think the cap hit this year, especially, is like 6.56 million, 6 or 7 million. Next year, it's about, I don't know, 12 to 14 million. Now, a couple years after that, you're kind of in trouble and you're going to have to figure something else out. But he's very tradable
Yeah.
right? And then I think doing that is kind of signaling to other teams that, hey, he's for sale, for lack of a better term.
I want to ask you guys about the offensive side of the ball. It doesn't sound like we really need to add as much. I guess it's kind of a two-part question, which is, are there things that you'd like to see be added to the offense? And then secondly, kind of where are you hoping things sort of go and develop and grow on the offensive side with the loss of DJ Moore, Zacchaeus, some of those guys?
I mean, I don't really think they have to do much on offense. Like we were talking about before, I think the Raymond ad was huge. That's the Zacchaeus spot. He took his spot. He's probably more of a productive wide receiver than Zacchaeus is. Great returner, so that takes care of the Duvernay leaving. But I mean, it's really hard to. I mean, obviously, with the offense, it's getting started quicker. They were always behind and they had to make these crazy comebacks. And if they can avoid some of that, they probably blow these teams out instead of having to come back. So getting starting quicker. But I mean, they're good at running back. They're good at wide receiver. I mean, you hope Rome turns into that number one guy that we all expect him to. I think really the only mystery is that left tackle spot is who's going to start there. And then Caleb's relationship with the new center, because I mean, losing Dahlman was an unexpected huge hit that the Bears took. Like nobody saw that coming. A QB and center, relationship is one of the, biggest things in the offense. So if that's okay, that center QB relationship, I think the Bears are all right as long as Braxton Jones, or I don't even remember what the other tackle's name that they signed, but if they can just get somebody to shore up that position just for a year, I think Ozzie is going to be the guy. So I don't think much needs to happen on offense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Ozzie's going to look like when he comes back. It's a serious injury, right? Patellar tendon, and so we'll see. But I think Braxton Jones should be fine for this year. Left tackle is one thing that they do need to address on the offense. Outside of that, and Ben, we trust, man. I think another year in this offense, which historically is about what a 2.5 season, 3 season probably marker you're looking at for some sort of type of proficiency in, right? So I think that I would say we're fine. We got enough mouths to feed, right? You got Luther Burden, you got Roma Dunze, you got Colston Loveland, you got Monangai and Swift who are going to get the bulk of the carries. Left tackle, defensive end, safety, right? That's what we're looking at in attacking in the draft. And if we can, send a couple first for Myles Garrett, I'd do it.
I mean,
just again on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah.
I was going to say all last year you wanted LB3 to be free. I mean, he's going to have his opportunity this year because he's going to be the number 2. There's nobody that's going to come. There's nobody that's going to take that spot. It's going to be Rome and LB3. That's it. So
Yeah, I'm excited about the pass catching core, right? So you got him who can create space, big yak guy. You got Rome, whom looks like to be a 3 level threat receiver, right? He's good all over the field, and you got Colston up the seam, right up the middle. I think re-signing. Oh man, re-signing. Who's our other big body tight end? What's his name? Oh my
Cole
goodness,
Kmet.
we're Cole Komet. We're already forgetting his
We're
name.
all
I
forgetting.
think I think Cole resigning Cole. I mean, Cole's a great tight end,
Mm.
and I think resigning him and making sure he's available for 12-man sets is important. But offense, man, offense. I think the offense is fine.
Low key, LB3 might turn out to be the Bears' #1 wide receiver this year. I mean, I know Rome
It
is
could be.
Rome. Rome is Rome, but we've kind of seen Rome for 2 years now. And LB3 he could take that job from him. I mean, Colston is going to be ultimately that's Caleb's, his
Yeah.
backup all the time is Colston's always going to be open. Linebackers can't guard him. So that's always going to be there. But Luther could end up being that #1 option for sure on this offense.
I could see a number of games where Luther Burden, like he maybe doesn't end up at the season with like the leading receiving, but I could see a number of games where he just like takes over. He just is like his shiftiness. He doesn't go down. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
And don't forget about Jade, your boy Jade Shrine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There was some article the article headline said big news for Jade Walker, and then all it was Press Taylor saying I could see him being our third. It's like 1,000 words for just that dumb shit. But yeah, I was reminded of him, whom I do really like. Abel, you said I don't know if you feel comfortable saying this in a public space, but you were, I think we were a little hard on Devin Duvernay over the course of the year. He didn't really do a lot of stuff to make me seem very excited about him in his returning, but you said something off before we recorded that I think is interesting about, at least if we try and maintain that man's legacy as he's on to a new team.
Yeah. There was some Duvernay hate going on, and I just wanted to put some respect on his name. That return that all Bears fans watched when we thought that game was out of reach, before we knew what Caleb was eventually going to do later on in the season. That return, I think Mathias said he got him to the 40, got the Bears to the 40, and then we kicked a field goal. We scored a touchdown. I forgot what it was. It was the second game against Minnesota late in the season. If we lose that game, the Bears don't make the playoffs. So that Duvernay run, which is very improbable, and we all thought the Bears were going to lose that game, is the reason why the Iceman was born. Let's not forget that.
He also he did it against the Packers too.
Oh yeah, I mean he's a solid returner, right? I guess, it looks like Poles just, he value shops, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you go to Kmart, Walmart, there's no Kmart's anymore. You go to Walmart from time to time and just get what you need. And he's good at that. What I need to see Poles do now is have a stellar draft class.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, this season he basically brought this season down to how he drafts because whatever your first round pick is, if it's on defense, you would expect that person to, produce produce right away. So if it's a safety or if it's a defensive end, you would expect them to be, you'd expect them to start doing what they were doing in college right away, regardless if it's the Missouri defensive end, if it's the Miami defensive end. I guess a lot of guys are looking at. I'm not that familiar with the safeties that they're looking at, but yeah, whoever they grab, even the second round, whatever their first 3 picks, if it's all defense, you would expect them that they got to start producing, from the jump. If you're not going to spend money in the offseason or make some big move, then you better draft good.
I'd be shocked if they don't address the edge too in one of the first 2 picks.
Yeah.
Or trade up. It's still an option. Yeah.
The Pro Football Focus said the Bears had the most valuable rookie class of 2025 for whatever that means.
Ooh, I did not know that.
They played a lot, right? Monangai played heavy minutes. I think burdened down the stretch, and Colston the whole time. And who else? We had some rookies on the line. Ozzie ended up getting in there.
Jade Walker from there too. So they had at least 5 of those dudes that were lightly making some impact or making a lot of impact.
Do it again, Ryan.
Yeah.
Address the opening clip from Wizard of Oz, which I just read for the first time recently, kind of a children's book. It's full of murder. The Tin Man keeps killing people, even though says he's not supposed to kill people. But there's a lot of news and movement and stories about where the Bears are going, and I couldn't think of two better people to express their sort of genuine feelings about um, sort of what happens after the 2031, basically, like when they might move and sort of where we're feeling. Because I think there are, um, yeah, I think we feel things and have said quite definitive statements in the group chat. Actually, there are things that I've told Samir that he doesn't believe in the realness of how serious some of your statements are. So I want to have a place to put it on record of just how real some of these feelings are about the Bears moves.
So, Samir, just so you know, if the Bears move to Indiana, I will no longer watch or care or be a Bears fan anymore. So I pray if that move happens that they win a Super Bowl before then. So then I don't have to worry about this anymore. The Arlington Heights thing was already a stretch, I think, for a lot of the guys that are from the city that watch games on the lakefront. I think the going to the dome is going to happen regardless, but the 30-mile-per-hour winds, the -10 degrees, always a home field advantage for those cold, those warm weather teams that are coming over here. That was already a stretch to do that in Arlington Heights. So the fact that you would take the Chicago, Illinois Bears and move them to Indiana and still try to call them the Chicago Bears, I think for any die-hard Chicago Bears fan would be almost impossible to swallow and to be okay with. So I honestly think that them moving to Indiana, regardless of the fans that they would get there, I think it would hurt the franchise for them to do that. So yeah, I mean, that's just I know Abel is even more of a starch opponent to even the Arlington Heights thing. But yeah, I think you're going to lose everybody if you go to Indiana.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, moving to Arlington Heights for me is, it takes the Bears completely out of the city of Chicago, right? They only play here, right? They're up in Lake Forest, Hallis Hall. Now you're going to be in Arlington Heights to play. Like you literally have nothing to do with the city of Chicago. So for me, it's a little bit more intense. You move to Arlington Heights, and I hope by 2031, or if it happens even sooner, I get to see a Super Bowl on the lakefront, because I'm you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And then for me, it's part of what makes the Bears experience great. It's taking that long, stupid, dumbass walk from wherever you get left off at, as close as you can get to McCormick Place, or the ramp, and it's a part of it. People selling the shirts and the drinks and the beers on the road, and all of it, and getting to your seats and being able to see the magnificent view, and then being in the weather and the elements, right? It's part of Chicago football. Those columns are part of Chicago football. So even if it wasn't going to be Soldier Field, it was going to be somewhere else in the city, I think I could have been fine. Arlington Heights for me, I think I don't think I could possibly be that big of a fan, especially now that they'd be completely out of the city. You move to Indiana, and I am actively rooting against the Chicago Bears. It's not like I'm just dropping you, as a team. It's fuck the Bears, and it's going to be fuck the Bears, swiftly.
But so we
Sorry, edit that out.
We collectively,
we got careers in shit. Yeah.
But we collectively don't go to Bears games after Halloween anymore because of the weather. So the older you get, you realize, okay, maybe this outdoor stadium in the middle of December is not something that even as a diehard Bears fan that we want to be a part of anymore. So I think the Dome Stadium, which probably isn't an option on the lakefront because there's just not the space for it, and going to Arlington Heights is something that I think as a Bears fan, I can at least be okay with. Because obviously there's so many NFL teams that don't play in the city that they represent. and ultimately the team has to make a decision, what's best for the fans, what's best for the organization, because they're going to make a ton more money. They can have Super Bowls, they can do that stuff. So moving the 30 minutes west to Arlington Heights, I'm okay with. It would just more be the state change, I think, would absolutely kill it for a lot of Bears fans for sure.
As one of the founding father, right, organizations of this league, I feel like it's important that it stay in Chicago. And I think the Bears as an organization has always been contrarian, right? So yeah, the Jets in New York, they play in the Meadowlands in New Jersey and whatever is going on in those other cities. It's not Chicago, right? And I think that's part of what makes the fan base so rabid. It's probably why there's Bears fans all over this country, regardless if they have a connection to Chicago or not. And then let me ask you something: the reason why national media and attention are glorifying Chicago is those iconic scenes, right, against the Packers in the playoffs against LA, which were at Soldier Field, which was in the tundra and not ice. That's how you got the nickname Iceman, which George Gervin is not happy about. It all has to do with the setting and the grit, which represents this city, bourgeois man. Now you go to Lake Forest and then you go all the way to Arlington Heights, man. You can miss me with that shit. I'd be done. But Indiana, we're like, we're blog posting and shit. If you move to fucking Indiana, get the fuck out of here.
There's definitely a thing that rises up in me to claim the city and not be in the city. And obviously, as you said, like they're already barely not in the city. The players don't even really live in the city, but like you have to come here, you have to play. I mean, it does sound like they are going to be, Dome's going to be happening somewhere. But I think, there is just something about like, if you're going to claim a place, you just have to be there. It seems like really fraudulent to not claim a place that you're not there.
Absolutely. Be the Arlington Heights Bears.
Yeah.
I'm not going to root for you, but be like, that team used to be in Chicago, right? I won't like disown it, man. Maybe we'll acknowledge it, but just do that then. Just leave. And you know what? Let an AFC team come in and be the Chicago Bears. Just leave the franchise, just like move. Well, no, I guess that's not how it happened, right? They take the Bears name and it'd be a different Chicago team, the Chicago Enforcers or something like that. Or stupid.
You just brought up the XFL team. Wasn't that the Enforcers?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. He hate me. Yeah. I remember that.
But hey, though, like, I mean, you got one of the most diehard franchises ever, too, along with the Bears, the Kansas City Chiefs. They're moving across the border into a different state, so it's really
But guess what? What iconic views are you fucking seeing in Kansas City? It's just fucking goddamn. Sorry, no, hold on. There's nothing there, right? You move from a stadium from Kansas City, Missouri to a different part of Kansas City, Missouri. It's the same sky that you're going to see outside of Kansas City, Missouri. It's a lot different than when you're in the city of Chicago. That I can understand. Even New York to a degree, right? You can't even find housing in New York, let alone, space to build a stadium. Like, okay, you got to move a little bit farther out. But Chicago has space. And they are putting up billions. So why can't it get done? Why can't it get done here?
I think it's just more they're looking at the options where they're getting more benefits going somewhere else that the city's not going to provide them ultimately. I think that's why they're doing it. It's all about taxes. It's about money. That team's probably going to, I'm not going to say save money moving to Arlington Heights, but probably have to pay far, far less money to build that stadium there than they would there. And probably even far, 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 far less money to do it in Indiana, since they are like begging to have the Bears come to Indiana. So I think that's all it is. You know what it is. It's money, man. They're going to go they're going to go wherever it's cheapest. Ultimately, I really don't think that they're going to move to Indiana. I really don't think they're going to do that. But I think that was just they let kind of all that happen, put pressure on Arlington Heights to maybe improve their offer. The Bears are not going to be, if we're all just facing reality.
Before you say anything, I'm still, holding out hope that this is all just a PR stunt and Kevin Warren is a freaking genius and he's just doing all this to put pressure in Chicago to really do something about keeping the Bears in the city. Because let me tell you something, culturally, it's going to be a huge mistake.
I agree.
It's going to be a huge mistake.
But what?
But Georgie's going to do what Georgie wants to do.
Yep. He's right though. He's right.
Yeah. This never would have happened under Mike. No, I'm sorry. Rest in peace. Michael McCaskey. Yeah.
As we close out today's episode, any final thoughts, any feelings, any things you'd like to share before we get out of here?
I think that for the most part, I think I'm still riding the high, baby. I mean, you just hope, you know. So we've always, what is right now usually for the Bears is the time we're looking forward to. Who they're going to draft, what they did in the offseason, what are they going to, that kind of stuff. That's normally what Bears fans are looking forward to for the last however many years. So the fact that they played really well last year, did a lot of things that got us super excited. I think that it's kind of changed to more now, like, let's just get to next season and see if they can do this again, or if they're actually legit. So I think the one thing a lot of people aren't talking about is how hard their schedule is next year. I think them going 10-7 next year and hopefully getting a wild card spot and can make some noise in the playoffs, I think would be a win because their schedule is ridiculously hard. So I think that if they can just prove again this year that they are that team, they got so many rookies under rookie contracts that you would hope after this year, if they can prove again that, they're here, they're ready to make some noise. They probably should have been playing in the NFC Championship game this past year, but it is what it is. That polls would, after this season, fill those holes with big money guys that can actually, propel them to, the teams that ESPN and other people are talking about being Super Bowl favorites. So, I think it's just a different offseason. We don't care as much about who he's drafting and what free agents are happening because they kind of got those cornerstones in place. So, I guess just let's get to September and start playing football again.
Yeah, let's play some football. Looking forward to seeing Caleb in year 2, this whole offense in year 2. I'm looking forward to seeing Dennis Allen get some of his guys in this defense and seeing a return to kind of shape and form that we're used to. It's been pretty soft and hard to watch for the last couple of years. And you know what? I think Mathias is absolutely right. A 10-7 and even a 9-8 season where you kind of sneak in could still be considered a step in the right direction because their schedule is so hard. But I think they're legit. So I'm ready to go. Let's play some football.
Let's go to Green Bay, boys.
Thank you so much for being on for Lone Star Daddy, for the newly nicknamed Eagleman, subbing in for Samir Patel. I am Chirag Rathod. We are the Bears in the Neighborhood, your weekly insight into the Chicago Bears. Today, slightly over 30 minutes, and we will catch you all next week.
Look at those low rates.
I think Eagleman is the perfect nickname for you, dude.